What's up, world? Back out here again. Now it's time to pot up these tomato seedlings. Now look, I know they look sad. Alright, here we go. Let's pot up these tomato seedlings. Now look, I know they look sad. They don't look strong and healthy like they should. And that's because I've waited extremely long to pot these things up. But what can I say? Can't really walk, can't really move that well right now. Tore my Achilles, so we're gonna get to it right now though. So I like to go from these little peat pots right here, or the cocoa pots, whatever you want to call them, go into the 4-inch pots. All right, let's get started. Now, even though they look sad right now, I promise you once you put them in the new soil and they get about less than a week in that new soil, everything will brighten, everything will green up, the plant will look more vigorous. You'll see. We'll put the peppers over here for now, and we'll get to work on these tomatoes. Now you can't see it, but it's here. Bag of potting soil from my buddies over at Quality Feed and Garden. My man Ken, he owns the store, and this is his own special blend right here. This is Ken's potting soil. So I probably should have potted these. Oh, I'm not on camera. I probably should have potted these tomatoes up at least 2-3 weeks ago, but got injured and haven't had a chance. But it's all good, no big deal. Pot them up now, and they'll do their thing in a few days. So now there's different ways that you can pot up a plant. Okay. With tomatoes, people will tell you to plant them. Bro was trying to ball into that Achilles. I wasn't trying to ball, man. I was getting buckets, bro. I was getting buckets. There's different ways that you could pot up the tomatoes. You can fill your pot all the way up, dig a little hole, then shove this down. But when you pot up tomatoes, you want to plant them deeply. That's what everybody's going to tell you. That's just because tomatoes can form roots from this main stem. So the deeper you plant it, the more roots that it's able to form. So I like to barely fill up this 4-inch pot right here. And then stick the seedling down so that when I cover it with soil, this is all that's sticking out. You hoop, Jay? I did the same thing. How long did it take you before you could walk? But were you getting buckets when you were hooping, or you were just kind of out there standing around in the corner? Okay, okay. That's what's up, man. What position you play? Alright, now once you put the seedling in and then you backfill it with the soil, press the soil down a little bit. I'm not telling you to compact it as hard as you can, but let the plant know it's there, okay? Now I don't mind mixing these tomatoes up because I only have 2 different types of tomatoes. That's dope, man. I'm glad you feel that way. I normally keep everything separated, but I already know I only have 2 types of tomatoes going on right here. So I can tell that these 3, they have the same leaves. The potato leaf. Those are the Brandywines. I don't remember what these are. Oh, these are the San Marzanos, and then this is just tomatillos. Always give buckets on even on 7-footers. Yeah, that's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. You big into gardening? I appreciate that, Jay. I don't even think about it as content, man. This is actually my real life. I do this with or without YouTube, man. With or without any of the social media. I'd be doing the same thing right now. So I'm down here in Zone 9, and if you go to all the nurseries, they've had, oh, that's dope, man. I'm glad to hear it. If you go to all the nurseries, they've had tomatoes in stock since January, but we've had some freezes, and you know, you can't really plant tomatoes when it freezes. So even though I'm a little bit behind, because I wish these things were already, you know, about this tall instead, I'm not really that far behind. Or actually, I don't even really mind being behind, because in my garden, I have a shaded area in the backyard that doesn't really warm up until the middle of March, and then I get full sun in my front yard and on my side yard. So a majority of these tomatoes will be in the back garden. I started broccoli, cabbage, and lettuce inside. Nice. Where are you at? Where are you at, Blossoming Globe? Where you start your lettuce inside? Is it still frozen out there? Yeah, I love gardening. This is actually this is my therapy right now. Like I said earlier, messed up my Achilles playing basketball, so this right here is the best thing for me, to come out here and enjoy this. Have a little bit of time doing some stuff that I really enjoy. How many of you guys taught me so much? That's it, man. The garden is the place to be. The garden's been my place to be since I was just a little kid, but I would say probably, I don't know, going on almost 20 years now. This has been my secret place, man. Some of the best conversations I've ever had and some of the best ideas I've ever had have come while sitting out in the garden. Zone 9, now it's Zone 10. Yeah, 20 years, man. And that's just, I've been doing it on my own as an adult, right? I was out here in the garden as a kid with my parents way before that. Fall River, Massachusetts. Y'all getting a bunch of snow out there right now, huh? Eatonville, Florida. Where is, oh, Eatonville. Where is Eatonville, Florida? So the first thing I plant in my spring garden will probably be the tomatoes. Then I'll backdoor and come in with a bunch of squash. And then I don't normally put my peppers out in the garden until late April. So right now, look, the peppers, they're still tiny. Only a couple of them have true leaves, but that's fine, because they still have another month and a half before they come out here. Central Florida, okay. My grandma used to live in Florida. She used to live in Lakeland. Oh, you just gave me some history right there, Jay Johnson. First black township in America. That's crazy. Now I want to do some research on the place. Anyway, potting up is one of the easiest things that you can do. It did snow. I prefer the tropics. Yeah, I'm not built for the snow. I'm not built for the snow. Potting up is one of the easiest things that you can do when it comes to gardening. A lot of times people make things with gardening a lot more complicated than it needs to be. When it comes to potting up, you're just moving up to the next size. So, like I showed you, we started off in these little peat pellets or these cocoa core pellets. I just need to go to something a little bit bigger than this. Could have gone to a solo cup, but I keep all of these little 4-inch nursery pots that I come in contact with, and I use them to pot up all my seedlings until they break. Because you know these things, they're made of the cheapest plastic. After a couple of seasons of being outside in the sun, you know, they're not gonna last very long. Lakeland's 45 minutes, okay, that's cool, man, that's cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I lived in Boston 29 years ago. Man, Boston. So Boston's one of the only, not the only places, I'm sure there's a lot of places, but Boston's probably one of the biggest cities on the East Coast I've never been to. Where is Zone 9? I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston, not just Texas. I'm in Houston. So I'm gonna start, I don't know if anybody's interested, but I'm gonna start a Discord channel. I'm outside, so you're gonna hear everything out here. I'm gonna start a Discord channel where everybody, regardless of whatever zone you're from, you can hop in that Discord, and then we can just kind of, you know, build our community over there and do our thing over there. Jay, you're welcome for all the tips, man. I appreciate you for just hopping on this live and for even interacting, right, and conversing with me on this live. That's cool, man. That means a lot. What kind of tomatoes you got out there? If anybody's interested in the Discord or joining the Discord, let me know. Shoot me an email. Get at me on any social media platform. I may not be actively posting a lot right now, but Houston does not look anywhere near 36 degrees. Houston is nowhere near 36 degrees. I don't know what it is. It might be 70 right now. I mean, warm enough to be outside in t-shirts and a short. Regular store, but okay. One thing I'll say is make sure whenever it comes to potting up your tomatoes, you want to use the best potting soil, like the highest quality potting soil that you possibly can. because the soil is really one of the most important things. It often gets overlooked whenever it comes to gardening. All right, I know a lot of times people think you can just use any soil, but you really need to understand that this soil stuff is alive, and it's really just our goal to feed the microbes in the soil, and then they will in turn feed the plants for us. Also, keep the plants healthy. Just started making compost. What are you using to make compost? Do you have a compost bin or something, or you just kind of making a pile outside and letting it do its thing? I need some more pots. I wonder if my son will get them. How long should I wait until I add it on the ground? Depends on what you're using to make the compost. In a bucket, you need to wait until it breaks all the way down. Hey, will you run over there on the second shelf over there and give me some more of these black pots?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I go put my shoes on?
Yeah, thank you. So how long you wait depends on what you're using in your compost. So if you're using kitchen scraps, you want to wait until those kitchen scraps break down. If you're using manure, any sort of manure, chicken manure, then you want to let it break down for at least 6 months. But it's really not about the amount of time. It's really more about the temperature of the contents of the bucket, along with the amount of air and the amount of microbes. So it's not just a time thing. Oh, you got a nice little garden going, Jay. But Blossoming Globe, how long has the compost been in the bucket? I don't have much growing in my garden right now. I don't know if I can turn this around. Yeah, I don't have much growing right now, but all of my fruit trees are starting to wake up. So that's exciting. Oh no, you've only had it in the bucket 4 days. You need to wait longer than that. Can you reach them, Ace?
Can I climb up?
Yeah, you can climb on that.
Okay.
And grab the whole stack that's up there, please. That's cool, don't worry about it. You want to say hi to the world?
Sure.
Come on. Look, that's the world.
Hi.
Oh, watch out now, that's my oldest son. Cool. Thanks.
Welcome.
If you know Andre the farmer, tell him I'd love to get him on my podcast so we can sit down and have a cool conversation about how he started gardening. And I know he's a farmer, but I say gardening whether you're farming or not. So there it is. We potted up all of the tomatoes, but now that you potted them up, that doesn't mean you're done. You need to make sure that you water in your plants. Okay? Oh, he's a gardener? That's cool. Well, I'd love to have a conversation with him. But make sure you water these plants because the soil is dry and the roots in the peat moss or the roots in the cocoa coir starting pellet, whatever they are, whatever moisture they have is now going to be absorbed by this dry soil. So you want to make sure that you water these plants, okay? And then once you water them today, even if you're putting them underneath grow lights, you will not have to water them again for the next few days. Please, man, please link us up. I'm trying to meet and talk to everybody. For a long time, I didn't really use social media the way that you're supposed to. Didn't use YouTube or Instagram. Like, I would just post and then kind of let it go. But now I'm really trying to make some connections. I want to talk to everybody. I want to learn and hear everybody's story, man, and kind of share that with the world. I think that would be amazing. So even though it's 70 degrees right now, I technically could leave these outside, but I will take them back inside and put them underneath my grow lights and let them do their thing for another 2 weeks. Actually, I'll probably keep them in the grow lights for less than 2 weeks. They'll probably only stay in there for another week, and then I'll move them outside here to this little covered patio, and then I'll leave them outside for the next week and a half. And then about the first week of March or so, that's when I'll actually plant them out into the garden. And that'll be the same time that I get my squash in the ground. I got a bunch of herbs going upstairs right now, more peppers if you watch the other videos and you just saw me seeding a lot of peppers. But we have herbs up there, kale. I don't know. This year I'm really on a mission to grow everything that I can from seed. I got away from that the past few years and just was buying seedlings. But then I would always have problems with the seedlings. Always, always. It never failed. And I'm just really tired of it. And I'm tired of not getting purple tomatillos. They only have one kind of tomatillo plant whenever you go to the nurseries, and it really bothers me. Yeah, and it might just be me, but it really bothers me that every single year they just stock the exact same varieties year after year. You feel like people would do new things, right? You would try a bunch of different seedlings, but I get it. The people who supply these nurseries are businesses, and they need to know that they're going to sell X amount of plants so that they can forecast all their financials, so I understand. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot. I think that growing from seed on your own, or even going to smaller nurseries that grow from seeds on their own, you just get a better end product. What's up? Thanks for showing up, first timer. It's only my third time doing the lives, so you gotta tell we're just vibing here, trying to have conversations and meet as many people as I possibly can. What's the link? He can hit me up, man. He can send me an email to igrow@BigCityGardener, or he can hit me up on any social media platform. Tell him shoot me a DM, Big City Gardener, and we can go from there. Yeah, gardening is definitely therapy. Gardening is definitely therapy, man. From Berlin? What's up, Berlin? Dang, that's crazy. People all over the world here. I should have told my son to bring me the hose so I could water these. Oh well. So everybody here, what are you growing in your spring garden, or what are you planning to grow in your spring garden? Like I mentioned earlier, this is tomatoes over here. On this tray right here, we have a bunch of pepper seedlings. Upstairs, there's more peppers, more herbs, eggplants, stuff like that. But what about you guys? What are you guys planning to grow for the spring? How long have you been gardening? Anything like that. If you're here, say something. Let's have a conversation. Or we don't have to have a conversation. We can all just sit here and in silence. I don't care. I'm trying to grow strawberries for months. Where are you located? Are you growing strawberries from seeds, or are you growing strawberries from plugs? What are we doing? New to gardening, on and off about it. What do you mean you're on and off about it? And how new to gardening are you? More peppers, eggplants, bananas, sorrel. Yeah, I plant the sorrel as well, but I don't plant it until later in the spring. I usually don't start the sorrel seeds until March, and then grow it for about 6 to 8 weeks. So what's that? Around May. That's when I put it out in the garden. Southeast U.S. Southeast. Well, all right. Southeast U.S. So, like Florida, Southeast U.S. or like the Gulf region or the Southeast. I thought this live was on. It's definitely unusual, man. I've only done them. This is my third time doing it. Been growing from seeds on my own strawberries. Okay. And why have you not been successful? Have you gotten the plant to grow, but you can't get it to progress past a certain size, or what? Oh, you're in Texas. If you're in Texas, man, you plant. If you're in Texas, we plant strawberries out here in the fall. That's the best time. If we plant them in the fall, then they get the little cold weather that they need during our winter if you want to call it that, and then you get strawberries the first year. Sorrel's around 6 inches. Yeah, if you're in Florida, you can plant sorrel right now. You guys don't ever get any freezing weather up there. And you're right, you did change to zone 10, and that makes sense because I don't think that Texas and Florida have the same climates. Strawberries aren't my strength either. No. East Central Texas. Hey, Texas stand up again. I love it. Oh, you've had freezing. Well, you know they say a bunch of weird stuff's going on with the Earth, right? So I guess Florida is due for freezing temperatures now. I guess that's how it works. South Carolina with the avocado tree, you got to make sure that you protect it. If you just planted it, then you have to make sure you can protect it until it actually gets bark on it, right? Because right now it's just growing the bare stem, yeah, the bare branches, and they don't develop bark for the first, I don't know, 3 to 5 years or something. Growing watermelons, you don't plant watermelon seeds outside until it's 90 plus degrees. So they may not root indoors because it may be too cold for them. More of a plant person. Hey man, if you're a plant person, planting a garden is just the next step, right? I am a gardening person, but I'm trying to get to where I'm a gardening person, but I'm trying to get to where I have indoor plants. I'm not really big on indoor plants just because I don't get anything from them, but I don't think I realize that I'm getting things from them. Or maybe I should say I don't realize what I'm actually getting from them. It's just having more plants around you. More plants you have, the better. That's my new saying. Plant plants. Whatever kind of plants they are, just plant plants. Yeah, it's nice to see them grow. I agree. I agree. No, you don't need to start. You don't need to start watermelon indoors in February. Not if you live in Texas. And I think I remember you saying that you're in Texas. If you're in Texas, you don't even need to start watermelon indoors. Period. Out here, we get entirely too hot for that. You just need to wait until later in the spring and plant your seeds outside, and I guarantee you, they'll sprout and they will do their thing. You can't trust everything you see on YouTube anyway, alright? But if you join the little Discord server that I'm starting up, then you could talk about, we'll separate it by zone, and then you could pose the questions, hey, when should I start my watermelon seeds, indoors or outdoors? And we'll have a community full of people and we can all help each other and all just answer each other's questions. I have 4 kids in my house. That probably means I need a lot of plants to cleanse all the germs that they bring into this house. I tried to do this. I tried to do the house plants. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I had house plants, but look, I neglected them. I spent more time outside than I did inside, and I just didn't really. Yeah, I didn't really take it seriously, and that's the problem. Yeah, I'm growing a bunch of melons this summer as well. I recently got a plot. Well, not recently. I guess it's been 6+ months now. I got a plot at the oldest community garden here in Houston, and the bed that you get is 50 feet long. I think it's about 4 feet wide or so. So the plan is to plant a bunch of watermelons, cantaloupes, cucumbers. Yeah, we're going melon crazy out there. All right, so I'm gonna put the information for the Discord server. I'm going to put it. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but I'm gonna put it where everybody can find it. And then after that, if you're not already signed up for the email list, then go sign up for the email list because I'm gonna send the email blast out. It'll be the first email that I've probably sent in well over a year and a half from this email list. But it'll reintroduce everybody to Big City Gardener and the plans that I kind of have for it. And it'll also have the information for the Discord server so that you can join there. What sort of fertilizer are you going to use for those peppers? I use a bunch of different fertilizers. I would say the main fertilizer that I use is probably fish fertilizer, like my own fish fertilizer that I make. I'm kind of getting back into like natural farming where you make as many of your inputs, as many of your fertilizers as you possibly can. So yeah, right now for these I will use fish fertilizer and a seaweed fertilizer that I have from a company called Microlife, if I'm not mistaken. But fish fertilizer is probably my favorite fertilizer overall. But if I'm not using store-bought fertilizers, then I just make a bunch of different compost teas. I make a lot of comfrey tea. I have chickens in my backyard, so I'll scoop out the manure, and during the hottest part of the summer, I'll let that compost, and then I'll use that manure to then make teas for the remainder of the summer and for the fall. Do you have a preferred fertilizer that you like to use? I wonder how you get more people to join your lives. Not saying that there's anything wrong with the people that are here. Got nothing but love for everybody that's here. I'm just curious what the trick is to get a crazy amount of people to join one of your lives. And by crazy, I just mean 100. Wonder what I have to do to get 100 people in here. Look into that. But that's about it. I'm also still new to gardening, so I don't have much ideas as far as fertilizers for each of the specific plants. Okay, so in all honesty, you don't really need specific fertilizers for specific plants. A lot of times, fertilizer companies post your live on all your socials. Okay, sounds like a plan. Um, a lot of times, fertilizer companies, they will just barely tweak the formulas and then sell you the same fertilizer multiple different times. If you have fish fertilizer or seaweed fertilizer, you're good. If you have any fertilizer that's high in nitrogen, you need that during the vegetative state when your plants are first growing and putting on their leaves. And once they start to flower or they produce their fruit, then you need to hit it with something with higher second or third numbers, phosphorus or potassium. But for the most part, you could literally feed your garden nothing but compost, compost teas, and your garden will thrive. So don't worry so much about the fertilizers and worry more about getting the best soil that you possibly can for your garden. And then don't think about it as fertilizing your plants. Think about it as fertilizing all of the little microbes that we can't see that are alive in this soil. And you're not even fertilizing them, you're feeding them, is what I should have said. That's good. Have you been burying those kitchen scraps? You've just been dumping them on top of the soil. If you get a bucket, a 5 gallon bucket, I don't know how big your garden is, but if you get a 5 gallon bucket with a lid, you can drill holes into the bottom of the bucket, stick that bucket in the middle of your garden bed, and then put all of your kitchen scraps in there with a little handful of soil or compost, and then that'll attract a bunch of worms to your garden bed, and then your garden will be more productive than it was. Oh, that's great information. Thank you for that info. Okay, cool. Cool. Keep burying kitchen scraps. Keep on burying them. And if that's the only garden bed that you have, I would stop burying the kitchen scraps about 3 months. Well, look, you don't have to do this. You can stop burying the kitchen scraps a couple of months before you plan on starting, or you can, let's say you have a garden bed that's like hypothetically this big, then you could bury your kitchen scraps on this side and then plant on this side. And then once everything's dead on this side, start burying your kitchen scraps on this side and then plant and garden on this side. Yeah, I definitely compost in place. I do that. I do that as well. I have a bunch of raised garden beds now, but before I had a bunch of in-ground garden beds, and I would actually bury my kitchen scraps in between the garden beds, and then just cover the garden beds with mulch. Oh well, you have it already figured out. You then there's nothing you need to do. You just need to keep doing what you're doing and give it time. Give it time because it takes a long time. It takes a long time to really build a healthy. Yeah, it takes a long time to build a healthy soil. It takes a long time to build a healthy soil. But if you just keep on burying the scraps and then planting, and then whenever those things die, don't pull the roots out. Just cut the plant at the base, leave the roots in the soil, then start composting on that side. You'll notice your garden doing a lot better. Yeah, well, that's basically it. That's basically it. In, I'm in zone 9. I'm in zone 9 down here in Houston, Texas. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Vicky. That means a lot. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you enjoy the channel. I'm going to get more active and start putting out a bunch more videos again. And Jay, I saw your comment about Instagram Live. I don't think I've ever done a live on Instagram. Hell, I had never done a live period until, I guess, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago I did my first live on here. We planted a persimmon about 3 or 4 years ago. Do we need to get another? No, a persimmon, depends on the variety. Do you know the variety that you planted? You have 119. There's no way I have 119 viewers. How do you know how many people are? Where does it tell me? All right, Jay. Hey, please connect me to Dre the Farmer if you can, man. I'd really appreciate that. I just need to keep the soil protected from weeds since it's not a raised bed and it's on the ground level. Get some mulch. Get some mulch, get straw, get anything you can. And whatever side of the garden you are not planting and wherever you're burying your kitchen scraps, then just keep that covered with mulch. Mulch is the best thing that you can use in the garden. Biker Babe, I don't know what your message says. Up to 145, that's crazy. I said, can I get 100 and it's at 145. Dang, that's wild. Well, then next time I do one of these lives, I want to get 200 people. I'm putting that out there now. And maybe I should just plan to do these in advance instead of just randomly popping up. That would make more sense. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick a day and a time. I got nothing but time now because I can't walk. And then I'm just going to come on here and we're going to talk about gardening. See? Yo, who are you, AA? You have all the answers. I will do that. I will do that. What if the whole session was like a Q&A? Then we would get a lot of comments. I feel like we're not maximizing our quarter-acre backyard. That's massive. That's massive. Where are you located, Biker Babe? How close do we have to plant them for them to be productive? Did you mention the persimmons? You don't have to plant the persimmons next to each other for them to be productive. You could have one in one corner of your garden and then another one in the complete other corner, and they will still cross-pollinate. The plants don't need to be next to each other. The fruit trees don't need to be necessary. The fruit trees don't necessarily need to be right next to each other in order to help cross-pollinate, because the bees and other pollinators are going to do that for you. New Jersey. I was in New Jersey in November, and a lot of my family lived in New Jersey, and some of them still live in New Jersey, but I think that was one of my first times going to New Jersey as an adult, and I could move to New Jersey. We stayed, I can't remember the name of the place, but it was right across from New York. I'm not going to remember the name of it. Who knows my mom? Biker Babe, you know my mom? Hey, thanks for tuning in, bro. You have an amazing evening. You went to school with my mom in Jamaica? That's wild. That's wild. What is your name? Well, I don't. Can I ask you what is your name? Is that allowed on live? I don't want to sound like a creep or a stalker, but the fact that you just said you knew my mom is kind of crazy. Janet, like like my aunt Janet. Is is this my aunt Janet? How? Either way, Banker Babe, if you know my mom, that's cool. That's cool. Do y'all still talk? Are y'all friends? She's coming to visit me soon. I should do a live with my mom. That would be dope. She knows me. House in 2019. That was before she. That's when she was still living in Bracknell. Before she moved. She knows me. Okay. Hey, if you spend time at my mom's house, you have to be somebody special because she doesn't just let anybody show up to her house. Okay, well, what's up, Janet? What's up, Janet? Now I'm gonna call. What time is it? 6 till. No, she's asleep. But I'm gonna call her first thing in the morning, and I'm gonna tell her that I talked to her friend. I will. I will mention. I will mention your name. That's dope, Vicky. Thank you for tuning in. I'm about to get out of here myself. Janet, I'm gonna tell my mom that I spoke to you on live, which is still crazy that you know my mom and you went to school with her in Jamaica because that's not a big place. But this is great. Thank you everybody who tuned in. I don't know how I'm gonna let everybody know, but I'm gonna start doing these a lot more often. Maybe we'll just have like a Q&A on some of them. Shout out to the person named AA who came in here and was giving me a bunch of game on how to get more people to tune into these lives. But as always, you know, I'm just here to talk about gardening. I'm just here to talk about gardening and how much I enjoy it. If you guys ever have any questions or anything, I'm not hard to find. I'm definitely not hard to find at all. Yeah, I'll be back. But I'll definitely post beforehand so people know that I'm gonna go live so we can try to get to 200 people. Because if we get to 200 people, then the next time we're gonna get to 300, and we're gonna keep going until we get to 1,000 people. Yeah, like my man Jay said, hit the like button if you like it. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Yeah, and I'm about to get back active with the podcast again and get back to talking to everybody like I was in season 1. I just haven't really been in the mood to get on the internet that much lately. But I'm back. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for everything. Keep being dope. Keep gardening and just grow it. Peace.